But thank you very much. We need to reflect on these things, and there should be that international solidarity amongst workers of the world. The next speaker is our brother, Farid. Put your hands together for Brother Farid.
Sorry, I want to make sure that I'm sticking to the third part of this. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for attending this workshop. I'm going to be talking about the third part, and I'm going to be a lot critical after all the thank yous that Comrade Mohammad said, and I'm going to continue with all the thank you, start with all the thank yous, especially like as a CUPE member and member of International Solidarity Committee, CUPE Ontario. I support the way that CUPE has been organizing, run like more grassroots committees, like elected members that actually form committees, and the way that these international solidarity committees in different provinces, they try to engage more members, as opposed to more like top-down approaches. But also, thank CUPE National, Canadian Union of Postal Workers, for the support, and so many other organizations internationally for the work that they've done, including the Start's work, the online campaigns. But my focus is going to be a lot critical around some of the challenges that we face throughout the years doing international solidarity work. So here it says that what the document that Paris is distributing is really a draft. In English, actually. So, I mean, the English is very raw, and it may going to be maybe edited, so it's not posted online yet. The Farsi version is even posted online, so, but just for your information. It's good to have it because it really highlights some of our key positions. Here I say that I'm going to be talking about the challenges, like both opportunities, but also the work and challenges around international solidarity work. Again, some of the opportunities been on the national level that we've been doing. We've been in existence in 1999. We started in Canada, but now we have about 7 branches in different parts of the world. Where we work on the ground level in each country, we see lots of opportunities. Working with different unions, non-unions, labor activists, progressive organizations. We are coming from a very progressive, like anti-capitalist, socialist background. All of our members are either back in Iran, they used to be labor activists, labor leaders, labor organizers. Many of them are very well known, like old workers leaders in Iran during 1979 revolution. And then some of them, like myself, who've been labor organizers, community and activists and community organizers in different countries. So we're coming from that progressive background. So we don't limit ourselves in terms of our work only with the unions. We think that the international solidarity work goes beyond unions, because unions are, like even in Canada, maybe they're about 30% of the workforce, and so many other parts of the world, so many organizations are doing really great work. One example is our common peer from Australia, Australia Asia Workers Link, that they do really great work, and they work with unions, but also work with lots of other progressive solidarity organizations. Challenges. One major challenge in Iran, federations, like the federations such as ITUC, International Trade Union Confederation, or WFTU, World Federation of Trade Unions. I don't know how many of you know about these organizations. Like, how many actually know about ITUC? How many know about WFTU? Not some, like probably less than half. So that also shows that, I mean, in terms of the kind of influences they have, but also the invisibility also they have, or maybe sometimes even the irrelevance to the international solidarity work. We've done so much work historically with organizations such as International Trade Union Confederation. Our relationship is not that great. I don't want to get into that. But what I got, the conclusion that I got is we have to, the international solidarity work, we have to diversify the kind of work that we do. So we're not actually relying on one federation here or one federation there for international solidarity work. Because the moment that your policies and your positions are too progressive for them, or too left-wing for them, or maybe even too right-wing for them, I'm not sure. I mean, they have the powers to actually shut you down, control some of the work that you do, find their own way to do their own way of work, as opposed to recognizing the groundwork that's happening back home. Right now, some of these organizations, even organizations such as Bus Workers Union in Iran, the most famous independent workers union in Iran, has been paying hefty price for the last 10 years. They've been challenging some of these international federations in the past 2 years. And they've been facing silence by them, they've been facing disregard by them, and that's not acceptable. I want to be as controversial as possible, because for this kind of work that we do, we don't need gatekeepers. We need people who are really looking for real international solidarity work. And the real international solidarity work is happening on the ground when people actually go to jail. They actually get executed, tortured for years and years, and they're risking their lives. They're not paid staff, they're not paid organizers, So we are working very closely with these kind of activists. And then what we need internationally from some of these international federations, that to be mindful of that, and then put aside their own way of looking at international solidarity, which is very narrow, very bureaucratic, very top-down, so many times behind the closed door. I think they need to be critiqued. And I know there's been other people who've been critiquing. It hasn't been coming from us, because we don't usually get into this for the past 20 years, or maybe more, way more than that. For the past 30 years, we've been doing international solidarity work without making any claims, without critiquing many of these organizations. But I think that it's important that also we have to forcefully also critique different international unions. Another one is WFTU, World Federation of Trade Union. That was part of the Eastern Bloc during the Cold War. So during the Cold War, ICFTU was part of the Western Bloc, WFTU was part of the Eastern Bloc. They continue with this same type of mentality that we are still in the Cold War. So WFTU still has very close relationship with the Islamic Republic of Iran. They actually accepted the Islamic Workers Council Workers' House, which is the most aggressive anti-worker organization in Iran, as a member of their organization. So right now, Workers' House is an affiliate of World Federation of Trade Unions. Why? Because they think that the Islamic regime of Iran is anti-imperialist, which they're not. They think that anyone who says that U.S. is bad, they're actually progressive, which they're not. They're not anti-imperialist, they're not anti-capitalist. Their policies are very much in line with the U.S. imperialism. It's a very aggressive capitalist state, what's happening in Iran. So WFTU is another problem. Back to ITUC, they're trying to actually, they issued a statement, their Asia and Pacific department issued a statement recently saying that because Workers has been affiliated by ITUC, maybe we need to actually have another affiliation in Iran, and they chose something called the High Society or High Assembly of the Workers' Representative, which is a pro-Ahmadinejad, quote-unquote, worker group. Everyone remember Ahmadinejad, the president before Rouhani? And Ahmadinejad is the president who actually cut back on all the subsidies in Iran. So he was as aggressive neoliberal as Rouhani is. So these kind of things that are happening are problematic, and it's really undermining the kind of international solidarity work that we do. We have to make sure that international federations, they don't have their own agenda when it comes to supporting international solidarity work. They have to respect workers' self-determination in the countries where they're at. And it's very important. And workers' self-determination, that's where we get. The messages that we get and every position that we've come up, including that statement, we've consulted each and every item in this with the workers' groups in Iran. And I can stand with that, and I've been around, perfect, thank you. I've been around, I can stand with that any other time, that why each and every one of them is very important for the workers' movement in Iran. I'm going to get to the next issue. Labor study here, Eric is here. We've done work with labor stuff throughout the years. I think that in labor stuff campaigns been very effective. But then at the same time, we oppose Eric's position on BDS strongly. I think it's not something that he doesn't know. But we think that it's very important as Iranian labor movement. We are very much pro-Palestine. And we are condemning the Israeli apartheid. And it's very important that we wanted to distinguish that when we come to this kind of workshops, or the use of labor study, which is important tool for international dissemination of information. But at the same time, it's very important to recognize that many of us, in countries such as Iran, have a strong solidarity with the labor movement in Palestine, and many of us are supporting BDS movement. And that created a compromising position. I'm going to give that example because it's good. It's a feedback that is important to know. I think labor studied a recent campaign on Ismail Abdi and on teachers. Ismail Abdi is one of the teacher leaders in Iran. He's in jail. He's on hunger strike right now. Thousands of people signed through Labor Start to support Ismail Abdi, but all the teacher organizations in Iran refused to disseminate the information. All the teachers organizations in Iran, they said that they're not going to actually promote that campaign just because of these. So I think that my feedback to Labor Start is to also consider some of these as well. It may compromise some of the good work that they do when there's no clear policies around these kind of issues. I'm going to run to the next one. AFL-CIO Solar Center. Why I am talking about AFL-CIO Solar Center? Because they tried to reach to us and so many other Iranian labor groups. Each and every one of us, as far as I know, I think those of us are well known, they said no to AFL-CIO Solar Center. And the strong message to AFL-CIO Solar Center is that we don't want them to get involved in Iran. We think that it's problematic that they're involved in Iraq or Egypt as well. They have a way of organizing, they have their own way of looking at the workers organizing, which is problematic. Plus they have a history of intervention in Venezuela and Haiti and all that, and coup d'etats in some other parts of the world. They have a very questionable history. As Kim Sipes said in his book, they're more sabotaging. The work is sabotaging, they're not helping, they're not contributing to international solidarity. Plus 90% of the funding comes from the US government and National Endowment for Democracy, which totally not acceptable, and it can actually put activists in countries like Iran in risky and situation. They can be exposed to jail and imprisonment and persecution. And I think that this is a strong position we want to continue. This is a message that as long as AFL-CIO continue these kind of policies, this is going to be, and what I'm saying is very much, I think, in line with the position of labor activists inside Iran as well. And the last part is about ILO, International Labor Organization. So every year, like May 30th to June 14th, is ILO conference, annual conference happening in Geneva. So the ILO has a tripartism system, which to us is problematic. In that we briefly talked about it, but there's not so much time to go through that. I think many people from the progressive, more class struggle approach realize that this is more collaborationist approach, and it's problematic. But in addition to that, the ILO, the way that they deal in Iran is very specific. So the Iranian government sends tons of delegates, and then the employers associations, which are actually directly linked to the Iranian government, they also send a bunch of delegates as well. And then the workers' delegate are actually from Workers' House of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the pro-Ahmadinejad groups. So these people go to these conferences in the name of the working class in Iran. And ILO takes them. Sometimes they give them even position within the ILO governing bodies, and that's absolutely not acceptable. Every year, every of these organizations, including sugarcane workers, bus workers, they issue public statements condemning the participation of government-sponsored organization in the name of workers. And the same thing continued with ILO and many of the international workers' bodies. They're not doing really much to actually pressure that and oppose that and fight back against that. So when it comes to undermining, there's so many level of undermining. When it comes to supporting, we have good support, like resolution with so many unions throughout the history, and it's important to continue that kind of support. I think we need to work more towards building worker-to-worker solidarity in every country. And also not to stick only within unions, but also broadening with more progressive forces around the world as well. And then also critiquing WFTU for the policies, critiquing ITUC, and also pressuring ILO to make sure that all those who go to this convention in the name of workers, but they're actually government sponsored, to be expelled. And also we have to make sure that the real workers who are in jail right now and on a strike, so many of them, these are the ones that should be representing workers in Iran, that they're the ones that are subject to torture. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm rushed, but
so we can take your questions. Any comments? Anybody else? 1, 2, 3.